Welcome, it's Kathleen, and I am coming to you with my second video about the Atomic Habits Workbook by James Clear. I have finished part one, and if you are doing the workbook, you can follow along with me. If you have questions about the workbook, you can go ahead and leave them in the comment. If you've read his book, Atomic Habits, it will be very easy to follow the workbook because he has the same principles. If you haven't read it, that's okay, because there's some really great stuff in here that's pretty easy to follow along. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is the 1%. The 1% is really helpful for those of us that strive and try to do so much in the beginning. The 1% is the continuous self-improvement. He talks about how just one tiny shift can change everything. And this is really important to remember because it's true. Even if you can only exercise 5 minutes a day to 10 minutes a day, at least you are doing something. The third thing that I want to mention is talking about creating systems over goals. This is extremely important because you can have a goal, and regardless of that goal, you have to have a way to get there. The system will create the way to get there. So goals are the result of what you want to achieve. Systems will get you there. And he talks a little bit more about systems at the end of part one. So we'll go ahead and dive into that at the end of the video. And so part one is basically about assessments, because we need to get to know ourselves and then know what we're dealing with and what type of habits we want to change or improve before we can even do that. So he talks about our identity-based habits, about deciding on the person that you want to be and proving it to yourself with small wins. What does that mean? What's an example of that? The person that you want to be is maybe the person that goes to bed early every night and gets a good rest instead of staying up late. The person that you want to be maybe is the person that's calm and collected instead of getting upset over small things. You can be that person. You can get to those goals. It's just a matter of knowing what identity you want to create, because you can basically create your identity. This is possible, and we can change our identities at any given time. So also we get to the part where he talks about the process of building a habit and the 4 components of that. There's the cue, the craving, the response, and the reward. And this is known as the habit loop. He talks about the habit loop in his first book. In the first part of it, you'll see a chart about the habit loop, and he will discuss what's happening and how it happens and why it happens. And this was really beneficial for me with the habit that I'm trying to break of self-sabotage, to see exactly where it's coming from and what my cues are when I start to think about it. The rest goes into a series of assessments. Assessments are little like tests and quizzes that are in the book. Assessments create clarity. Think of them as a personal intake, so to speak. You're taking quizzes about yourself and what your habits are and your goals. Following that is the ABZ framework. Not ABC, but ABZ. The ABZ framework is it talks about A being the current reality of where you are now, and Z being the current reality of where you want to end up. So most of us think that we need to map out A through Z to get to Z, which would be our final desired result. But we don't. James Clear says that all we really need to do is know B. So the pathway to Z, from A to Z, is really a series of B's, of just doing the next indicated step. He asks us then to look at the big picture. When you think of your obligations, what are the things that are the most important to you? What are the things that you need to do and take care of like immediately. That can be family, that could be work. He asks us to take time and energy audits over a week. So I was able to do that. I was able to fill out my time and energy audit over a period of a week. That gave me a bigger picture, though, of what I do and when I do it, and what are the best times for me to build that habit and cultivate it to the point where I can get success out of it. So with that time and energy audit, you get scorecards, and then you also get a page to write reflections, which is really cool, because writing is really the way that we get to know ourselves. Writing is really healing, and it's a way that kind of show us and expose us to some of the deepest things that are going on with us. So writing is really paramount. Toward the end, we get to the clean slate image. He talks about these identities that you want. That's one of really the most powerful parts for me of this beginning workbook, is the identity setting or creating your ideal identity. And the reason it's so powerful is because if you don't think of what you want to do, you're never going to get to do it. If you do think of what you want to do and you actually write it down like a list, it can happen. And if you keep writing it down and you keep streamlining it and making it a little bit different and stronger or more specific each time you write down your ideal identity and what you want to do and how you can get there, the picture gets clearer. And when the picture gets clear, your path can open up. When your path opens up, then it's easier for you to be able to take the steps and walk toward that goal. He's going to ask you to just choose one habit. That's for the sake of simplicity, so we don't get overwhelmed and we don't start doing things, focusing on too many things, because that can be another way that we can not get to our goals, is by focusing on too many things. I'm guilty of that, so that's why I'm bringing that up. The cool thing about the goal setting is that when he talks about goal setting, he reminds us again about systems. And that's one of the reasons that I really just am a fan of this book, such a big fan, because a system, and this is from James Clear's book, is a repeatable process or a routine that produces results through consistency. Unlike goals, which focus on outcomes, systems focus on what's going on, habits and behavior that make the goals inevitable. The system is an exact plan, the how, what, and when. It's literally your roadmap. Toward the end, there's a little bit more for evaluating our systems, our goal, and the current system that we have to get there. And then he has a period of reflection. The check-in at the very end of the book, at the very end of part 1, was very helpful, because the check-in is what makes you get to say, okay, now I see where I'm at. I didn't do it perfectly, because you don't have to do it perfectly, but you did it. I really loved it, and I hope that you are all out there doing the Atomic Habits Workbook. If you are, and you have any questions, please leave a comment. If you have any support or any ideas, I'd love to hear it too. And thank you so much for watching.